my first Casa Audit, 210 hours, Brisbane Radio HF, and Flight Training Australia turns 3. All that and more coming right up. So strap in and let's get into it.
Good morning, 7640, 95 Mallow, 7 PAB with altitude.
Coordinating, hail on a runner, bank, balance, bank pressure rolling at 30 degrees. That's 30 degrees there. Stand by, start 9000, 1013, K5 25.
G'day everyone and welcome to episode 149 of the Flight Training Australia podcast, the podcast all about flight training and flying in Australia and beyond. G'day, I'm your host Trent Robinson. Welcome to another episode. Hope you've had a wonderful week. I've had one off from the podcast anyway. I got back a bit late from Perth, unfortunately, and a bit too much going on to get one out to you. So rather than rushing and putting out some nonsense, I thought I'd wait a week. And yeah, it's wonderful to get back to Jandakot and down to Perth, catch up with a lot of familiar faces and meet some new ones. And it was, really great just to see how Jandakot has evolved. But, you have to start wondering, is it all for the better? And a little bit to do with the audit that I did with Casa as well. The pricing and the urban sprawl that's infringing on our airports at the moment, the industrial areas that are making big bank ever since the privatisation of our airports, both our GA ones and the big majors, it was all meant to be for the better of aviation, and you really got to wonder, has it done that or has it made things worse? If everyone else, all these big commercial industries are paying for the subsidisation of aircraft or flying school and aeroplane business rents and maintenance organisations, that sort of thing, well, you could argue that maybe that's all a good thing, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I couldn't just believe the amount of change to the drive into Jandakot, and I know similar things have been going on at other airports. The show must go on. We need to fix runways, taxiways, and service all these things for sure. But for such a crucial piece of infrastructure that some operators are being forced out because they just simply can't afford it anymore. And the link to the Casa audit I did was, talking to the FOIs that worked with me in that audit, that how they're not at an airport anymore. And it was just so nice to be at Darwin Airport where the Casa office still is there. But so many other airports around Australia where Casa used to have their office and be able to easily, perform their roles, meet with local operators and pilots and that sort of thing, just very difficult to do now. They can't even afford the rents. And I just found out the Casa office has moved even from Perth Airport now to Perth City. So they've gone from Jandakot to Perth City now. And that is happening in other places as well. Cairns have just done that and others. So yeah, interesting the impacts on our airports and the costs that are being passed on to us as users through landing fees, through renting, aircraft parking, facilities, all that sort of thing. So it's definitely something that we all need to be very, very mindful of as a real major cost in doing what we do, and not allowing us to be robbed of these facilities and airports that are so crucial to communities and to our businesses. And hopefully things don't get any worse and we all find some common ground to work together. But otherwise, it was awesome to get down there, meet the guys down at Revesco. Went down to the Aero Club and the W Aviation College, had a chat to about 50 odd students and members, which was fantastic. So g'day to everyone there. Thank you for coming. And popped into Air Flight, went to the RFDS, JFC, where else I go? Yeah, a bit of a wander around, a bit of a drive around. Didn't get to everyone I wanted to, so everybody's sorry, but I will be back in January at this stage, looks like. So I'll catch you then instead. I'll make sure I see you first. But great to just go out to the airport, go for a fly down to the training area and back, and doing a little bit of instructor training and things. It was nothing much has changed really from the flying perspective. Still got aircraft overflying at 1,500 feet. We're doing 1,000-foot circuits, which is actually 900 AGL at Jandakot. And again, just reinforcing the things are so important that we need to maintain 1,000 feet. Otherwise, we pop up to 1,200 feet. Then we've only got 300 feet off the person above us, assuming they haven't dropped down a little bit. So these tolerances that I'm always talking about, operating within 100 feet and 50 feet, whatever, what you're trying to aim for, so important in a practical, everyday use, not just for passing flight tests. So as I mentioned, I did my very first Casa Audit. So for those that don't know, I hold a Part 141 flying school certificate, but not the usual one. Well, it is actually exactly the same as any school, except mine is what's classified as a sole instructor 141. So I am technically restricted to just myself and can't employ any other staff other than an admin person. So yeah, that was fantastic to go through. Don't think people normally say that about audits, but no, look, it all went well. It was interesting just to talk about things that are going on in different parts of the country, the evolution of this sole instructor 141 certificate and how it is a year later. I think I was about the second one to get it, and I'm one of the few, I don't know how many others, but actually hold all the training qualifications. It sort of wasn't necessarily intended to go that way, but that's the way it worked. And most people are all, well, why not? I can only do so much. I'm only one person. And as it turns out, I pretty much focus on the advanced training side of things anyway. But that went all pretty well. So I'm waiting for the final report. That's not through just yet, but that will come in the coming weeks, and see what other changes and things we need to make to just help that process run a bit smoother and be all in compliance with the way it was intended to operate. As I said before, 3rd year anniversary. So Flight Training Australia podcast 3 years ago, November, it was on the, early November. So 3 years almost to the day that this is coming out. So just a fantastic achievement, not something I thought would be still going on this far down the track, but to everyone that has noticed the date and send a little message through, thank you very much. Thank you to everyone listening. And I've got the 150th episode next week, and there'll be a few other little announcements and things happening after that one, which we'll do to celebrate. But I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys listening. So thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for making me part of your daily or weekly routine, your study process and everything else. And as always, if there's anything I can do to discuss, to talk about, people you want me to talk to, whatever else, please just send those suggestions through and we will see what we can organize. I know how much this means to some of you and how it has helped you get through your training, your flight tests, your exams, and the messages that just keep coming through every week are just awesome. So please, thank you. Send those through. If you haven't been on Apple Podcasts and you want to drop a review, please go ahead and do that. And as I've also indicated, the podcast is sort of expanding out to some little blog posts and things that I put out on Patreon. All you got to do is sign up for free for those. But if you want to support what I'm doing, help me get some more YouTube content going and the podcast and everything else, and consider joining up as a financial member on Patreon as well. It's all tax deductible, and there'll be a special for that next week. So maybe just wait one more week. All right. All right, moving on to the 210 training and the GA transition course that I run, and been getting quite a few inquiries lately, including when can I help and when can I do it. And one of them is, I need to get some more hours to help get a job. I just want to make it really clear with the 210 is it's not about the hours, guys. it's about proficiency and the general proficiency rule. And part of what I talk to with the WAC students and the Aero Club members is the concept of general proficiency is that you can fly the 210 to a suitable level that you can then go out with a senior pilot to supervise you and take passengers. All right. So what that essentially means is if you're still banging the airplane into the runway, can't land straight, can't do this, can't do that, well, then you're not proficient. And would you want to be sitting in the back with you? Ultimately, that's the question you need to ask yourself. So how many hours does it take? Well, that's pretty much up to you. You don't have to do 5 hours. You don't have to do 10 hours. You will get hours on your ICAS training, your line training. So there's no urgent rush to go and try and get 5 hours just in an aeroplane, because for most people, that just means absolutely stuff all, because now you've gone and done 5 hours in an aeroplane sitting there while the clock's turning. That's not what it's about, guys. Okay, it's about that general proficiency, general competency. So you need to know the aircraft, be able to fly it and maneuver it accurately and nice and tidily as a commercial student, commercial graduate should be able to do. And then this is what's going to help you understand the aircraft, the systems, and everything else to do with Part 135, 138 operations, and help you get that job. All right. If you're sort of just doing okay, then when you do get a chance to get a check ride, it is highly likely that they won't be giving you a Guernsey. So make sure that you consider and be honest with yourself, as I keep saying, in how you're handling the airplane. Save up your money, go fly 172, 152, a Warrior, just anything that's just going to help with your accurate flying, and go shoot circuits, go do some general handling. But, circuits overall, probably the best all-rounder for climbing, descending, turning, distractions, and everything else to get your nice, neat, accurate flying. All right. So if you would like to know more about that, I am working on some helpers, as I've said before, and I've got a couple of great people who are very keen and interested, some fantastic experience to back it up. So that's not just jumping in a 10 and getting out, a 210 and getting hours. It is someone who's going to value add and make you a better commercial pilot. So again, keep an ear out for all that on social media and, of course, here on the podcast, and I'll let you know more when that is coming into fruition. A little while ago on Instagram, if you followed me there, if not, jump on, follow me there. There's heaps of information, fun little info, memes and videos and things, but also in the Instagram story, I often put little quizzes and questions and just bits about my day. And one of the things I put on there was the new HF process. And the question I posed was what frequency should we be on? And that was all to do with higher the sun, higher the frequency. So around sort of 10:30 or so to 2:30, middle of the day, you're typically on the highest frequency available to you in your area. And then the middle one around morning and dusk. And then nighttime is the lower frequency. But there was a bit of a puzzle to do with what is the name of the HF frequency now. We used to call Flight Watch. And if you indeed have a look on the PCA, which shows the frequencies that are listed, they're still listed there as Flight Watch, which is, again, a little bit confusing. So have a look at that. You'll see what I'm talking about. And so now what it's all about is Brisbane Radio. Now, I thought that followed the theme of Brisbane to the north and Melbourne centre to the south. But alas, it doesn't. Everybody is called Brisbane Centre now. Sorry, Brisbane Radio now. And I'd like to just thank my good mate, Luke Tonkin, who managed to find where the current references are. And in all good things, of course, nothing is in one spot. So this is not a CASA thing now. This is an air services one. That there is mention of the radio frequency call sign in the AIP book. All right, so that's in with all the other radio call stuff, but it's in the URSA that actually gives the frequency boundaries and tells you that it is Brisbane radio everywhere. So no wonder I couldn't find it, because I wasn't even looking in the URSA for that. But thank you, Luke, for passing that on. That made a lot of sense once it all became revealed. And I'm sure it'll be referenced, or is referenced somewhere in the JEPs, but I just haven't had a chance to grab a set and have a look and find it yet. But if anyone knows, let me know, and then I can get a screenshot of something and share that on the Instagram page and the Facebook page. All right, but if you go into the general FIS page 3 in the URSA, that's where it mentions the Brisbane radio frequency HF structure. All right. So look forward to listening to you all on HF sometime. All right, guys, that is it for this week. Just a few bits. So next week is the 150th episode, and every 50 episodes now I'm going to be doing a sort of multiple pilot interview, and this one is no exception. So I have 5 fantastic aviators who have agreed to come on with me and have a great chat about their careers and things, and really looking forward to sharing that with you all. So make sure you jump on your favorite podcast player, like and subscribe to that so you get the notifications when the new episode is released every Monday, assuming I don't go somewhere. It'll be there waiting for you in the morning. But it will be fantastic. So that is coming up next week. And then we'll just continue on. We've got some other great topics to talk about, some more theory sessions, and some fantastic interviews that are very close to coming to fruition as well. All right, everybody, that's enough of me yabbering on. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe as always, and remember the golden rule: aviate, navigate, communicate. Cheers, everyone.